Out to the lenders to the auto space, while over-leveraging in microfinance sector has been a concern in the financial sector for now. Of late, growth concerns have been emerging from the auto space, and that could in turn have an impact on the lenders. To discuss this and more, we have Saswata Gupta, who is the Senior Director of Asia Pacific Banks at Fitch, as well as Anil Gupta, Senior VP at ICRA, who join us on the show. Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for joining in. Well, Anil, you go first. Tell us about, the perceived pain that we're seeing in rural India. And how do you think things are shaping up? Because there's quite a bit of exposure out there.
Yeah, hi, good morning. So, yes, definitely from the asset quality perspective of the lenders, there has been some weakening in the asset quality matrices, especially for the lenders who have exposure to the rural India. Microfinance, of course, we know, but even, let's say, some other loans which are oriented towards rural India, let's say two-wheeler, or let's say used cars, or let's say the micro loan against property, all these segments have seen some kind of maybe weakening in terms of asset quality indicators for the lenders. And the reason is maybe both, maybe what we can say is one, definitely the impact on the income levels, and second is the over leveraging. While the impact of income is not that significant, let's say a driver for the asset quality, but I think maybe pockets of over leveraging with some kind of borrowers is definitely a driver which is pulling down the asset quality. So we think that maybe few more quarters of pain can possibly continue till the time these borrowers who are over leveraged don't basically fall off. So maybe third quarter and maybe the fourth quarter can also be weak in terms of asset quality for the sector as a whole.
All right, take your point, Anil. Meanwhile, while you were talking, there was a flash at the bottom of the screen that came in from Moody's, which said that the development with regards to the Adani Group, the indictment of senior officials may be a bit of a credit negative. Now, from a credit rating standpoint, I just wanted to understand your position on this. I'll come to Saswat first and then get a view on this from Anil as well. Saswat, would you have any back-of-the-envelope calculations on the kind of debt that the group has with the lenders and what kind of impact it could have on the creditworthiness because of this development that took place overnight?
Unfortunately, no. I primarily look at the financial space. So for this particular development, you would have to speak with the relevant corporate analyst. Unfortunately, I don't have an opinion on this.
Anil, your thoughts?
Yeah, so again, I will not be able to comment on this specific thing because I will not have these numbers, but definitely the management profile, management quality is one of the drivers for the rating, right? So any negative development does have that impact. So not specific to this case, but in general, that is how it is perceived.
All right, no problem. Let's get going then with regards to the, future of the auto lenders. Do you think because of this over leveraging and because of this sentiment weakness that we're seeing, could there be some downgrades due to deterioration in some of the fundamentals of auto lenders? Saswat, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, among the mix of things, I think while there has been pressure on the auto lenders for a while, in the waterfall of potential concerns, I don't think it's really right up there at the moment in our sort of minds. What actually occupies a lot more within that space is, of course, one you've talked about, which is microfinance, and I won't sort of repeat what has already been said. But at the same time, what is also, I think, I think a source of concern, or could be a source of concern in times to come, is essentially the unsecured retail loan space, including both credit cards and personal loans. And I think that to us perhaps is at the moment, at least if one has to take a view over the next 12 to 15 months, is potentially a bigger concern from our standpoint, primarily because these are largely unsecured in nature. For auto, for whatever it's worth, I think the loans are still by and large secured. And so you would have some degree of some kind of a recovery rate on those loans in the hypothetical scenario if some were to go bad. whereas that is not the case for these unsecured loans. So I think in the near term, I think that's probably a bigger concern.
Well, and Saswat, most of these auto lenders, they're more or less well capitalized, right? I think Mahindra Financial, I think they're on the verge of that. If there is a further deterioration in the books, do you think that they will be at risk, or do you think they've got plenty of cushion?
Well, I mean, our sense is that if you're talking about the marquee ones, I think they should be okay. It's not that they're new to stress. I think the kind of I mean, you mentioned MMFSL. I mean, they are primarily operating in the rural space, and cyclicality is not unique to them. I think they have seen stress in the past, and they have sort of come out of it. So I think also, and of course, they have a large corporate sitting on top of them. So there can be obviously the element of potential support should there be a need. So I think from our perspective, these large ones essentially are. I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, the situation or the sector per se is going through stress, but do I see them as an imminent balance sheet risk for the banks? The answer is no.
All right, final question. We'll let Anil have a word on this one as well. Anil, your thoughts on what are your expectations, let's put it that way, on the auto sector growth itself? This is with regards to cars, CVs, trucks, etc. And in light of that, freight rates, despite the sort of damage that we've seen in sentiment, they've remained fairly stable. So what's your outlook on that? So freight rates and outlook for growth of various ends of the vehicle sector.
Sure. So maybe the growth in the festive season definitely has helped in terms of some uptick in the sales volume for the automobile companies. But I think maybe sustaining of that demand in the second half, given maybe there can be some sort of maybe a credit squeeze because lenders may pull back in terms of maybe how the asset quality is emerging. So whether that credit flow squeeze maybe has an impact on the sales, I think that is something what we have to watch out for. In terms of freight, I think you absolutely said right. The demand has been holding on. And I think the second half typically tends to be more maybe busier than the first half. So in terms of maybe the outlook on the freight rate, it should continue to hold on in terms of maybe the growth outlook for the second half in terms of GDP also is good. So the freight rates should hold on. So that should have some maybe a breather for the asset quality in the second half. But we have to watch out on the sales given the expectation on credit flow.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in and weighing in with your views on this important, growth pangs for the auto sector, so to say, and the impact that it could have on some of the lenders as well. We'll keep, chiming into your opinion every once in a while where we have any development that takes place in the sector itself. Take a short break, come back.